Good evening, here's Top News English newsletter starting with headlines. Syrian army launches wide-scale military operations against terrorists across the country. Israel's military opens 8 new probes into its Gaza war conduct. Attack on police station in Iraq kills 9 people. And 6 Guantanamo prisoners sent to Uruguay for resettlement. Welcome to details. Syrian army on Sunday launched wide-scale military operations against the terrorist organization's hideouts and gatherings, killing scores of terrorists and wounding others. In Homs, soldiers killed and injured a number of terrorists in Beit Rabi'a and Kharbet Beit Laha in Hisye, while in Idlib countryside army troops destroyed a terrorist's vehicle while moving from Kafrmed village towards Abu Subayr, killing all terrorists on board and destroying their ammunition. In Lebanon, families of the kidnapped Lebanese troops asked Prime Minister Tamam Salam to take a bold decision and secure the release of their sons in the next few days. In a statement issued on Friday night via Twitter, the Nusra Front declared that it had executed Lebanese hostage Ali al-Bazzal as a response to the arrests carried out by the Lebanese armed forces, threatening to murder another captive if the female detainees who were arrested were not released. The delegation also said on Sunday that the border town of Arsal is kidnapped by terrorists, noting that its residents are not guilty in this regard. Al-Bazzaliya town will be a symbol of national unity, the delegation added. In turn, Al-Bazzal family held Sheikh Mustafa al-Hujayri responsible for the killing of kidnapped soldier Ali al-Bazzal, noting that they do not count on the Lebanese state as the ministerial crisis cell is divided. In occupied Palestine, Israel's military said it had opened 8 new criminal investigations into its Gaza war operations, including cases involving the death of 30 Palestinians. The internal inquiries could help Israel challenge the work of a UN Human Rights Council Commission of Inquiry into possible war crimes committed by its forces in the 50-day conflict in July and August. Israel has said it would not cooperate with the panel, accusing it of bias. More than 2,100 Palestinians, most of them civilians, were killed in the fighting. According to the Gaza Health Ministry, 67 Israeli soldiers and 6 civilians in Israel were killed. The military said late on Saturday it would investigate a July 20 airstrike on the Abu Jum'a family home in the town of Khan Yunis, in which 27 Palestinians were killed. Human rights groups said the dead was civilians. The new probes will also examine the death of 2 Palestinian ambulance drivers on July 25 in Israeli strikes and a July 29 incident in which, according to a rights group, a Palestinian carrying a white flag was killed. 4 other inquiries will look into looting allegations. In Iraq, militants attacked a police station in an Iraqi village north of Baghdad, killing at least 9 people on Sunday, officials said. The attack started at dawn with a suicide car bomber hitting the blast walls that surround the police station in the village of As-Salman outside the town of Tarmiya, a police officer said. He said an assault by armed militants followed. He said also that the attack killed 5 police officers and 4 civilians while wounding 11 people. 2 medical officials confirmed the casualty figures. All officials spoke on condition of anonymity as they were not authorized to release the information. Tarmiya is about 50 kilometers north of Baghdad. No group immediately claimed responsibility for the attack, which came a day after a string of bombings targeting areas around Baghdad killed 10 people amid tight security measures to protect pilgrims heading to the holy city of Karbala. In Saudi Arabia, guards on Saudi Arabia's southern border with Yemen have killed 2 Ethiopians trying to smuggle drugs and alcohol into the kingdom, the official news agency reported. The agency said late Saturday that another 3 smugglers were wounded and 4 police were slightly hurt in a firefight. Citing a spokesman for Saudi security forces, it said the incident in a mountainous area of Asir province came after the smugglers opened fire on border guards trying to arrest them. In Sudan, Sudanese security forces arrested two prominent opposition leaders late on Saturday, days after they signed an agreement aimed at unifying opposition to President Omar Hassan al-Bashir, a leading dissident said. Sadiq Youssef, an official of the National Consensus Forces (NCF), an umbrella group of Sudan's main opposition parties, said that NCF leader Farouk Abu Isa, 81, and human rights lawyer Amin Makki, 75, had been detained. A broad spectrum of Sudanese political opposition and armed rebel groups put aside difference to sign a unity agreement on Wednesday that they hope will strengthen their hand in peace talks with the government that are taking place in Addis Ababa. In Cuba, 6 men held for more than a decade at the U.S. military prison at Guantanamo Bay in Cuba were sent to Uruguay for resettlement on Sunday, the Pentagon said, the latest step in a slow-moving effort by the Obama administration to close the facility. The release of the 4 Syrians, a Tunisian and a Palestinian, who were flown to South America aboard a U.S. military plane, represented the largest single group to leave the internationally condemned U.S. detention camp since 2009. President Barack Obama took office nearly 6 years ago, promising to shut the prison, citing its damage to America's image around the world, but he has been unable to do so, partly because of obstacles posed by the U.S. Congress. German Chancellor Angela Merkel accused Russia on Sunday of interfering in the domestic affairs of numerous countries that are seeking closer ties to the European Union. Moldova, Georgia, and Ukraine are 3 countries in our eastern neighborhood that have taken sovereign decisions to sign an association agreement with the European Union, Merkel said in an interview. Moscow has shown its displeasure with Moldova's pro-European course, confirmed in an election last week in which a pro-Russian candidate was prevented from participating by banning imports of Moldovan wines, vegetables, and meat. Last month, Russian President Vladimir Putin signed a strategic partnership agreement with Georgia's breakaway region of Abkhazia, drawing strong criticism from NATO and the European Union. Beyond these moves, Merkel accused Moscow of trying to make countries in the Western Balkans economically and politically dependent on Russia in order to gain influence there. She defended her decision at a NATO summit in 2008 not to put Ukraine and Georgia on track for membership of the military alliance, but reaffirmed NATO's commitment to defend countries in Eastern Europe like Poland and the Baltic states that are members. And finally, in Nigeria, Nigeria's airport authority and security officials say they have seized an aircraft loaded with at least 1 military helicopter and heavy weapons that made an unscheduled landing at Kano Airport in northern Nigeria. Security agents said they detained 5 Ukrainian crew members who said the plane was flying to the capital of Chad. Kano is far northwest of that air route. Nigeria's airport authority confirmed on Sunday that a Russian-made Antonov transport plane was seized on Saturday. That's all for today. Thanks for joining us. I am Dima Younes. Good night.